See, I'm not asking you to fake it. I'm telling you to own it. There's a difference between suppressing your emotions and mastering them. And the person who can stand in the storm, without blinking, that's the person everyone watches, everyone respects, and everyone fears just a little. You want to win in life. Then you need to learn the skill most people never do: emotional sovereignty. When you act like nothing affects you, you're not being fake. You're being disciplined. You're choosing what deserves your energy, your time, your soul, and 99% of the noise around you doesn't. They'll try to trigger you, make no mistake. They'll test your tone, your silence, your reaction time. They want the show. Don't give it to them. They feed off drama, starve them with composure. They thrive on your reactions. Control them, and you control the room. When someone insults you, mocks you, ignores you, don't respond with anger. Don't try to prove anything, because the moment you react, they win. Instead, pause. Breathe, look them dead in the eye and say nothing. That silence, that pause, it's power, because it tells them you're unshakable. Most people are ruled by how they feel in the moment. But you're different. You know that feelings lie. They pass. Discomfort is temporary. But how you carry yourself through it, that's forever. There's strength in softness. There's danger in silence. There's power in stillness. When the world throws chaos at you, respond with calm. When they expect you to crack, stay solid. And no, this isn't about pretending that nothing gets to you. It's about choosing what deserves to get to you. It's about protecting your peace like it's your last breath. Because every time you let someone's words rattle you, you're handing them your power on a silver platter. Take it back. Learn to be the person who hears everything and reacts to nothing. The one who knows their worth so deeply that no insult can reach it. Because when you walk like you're untouchable, eventually, you become it. You ever watch someone walk into a room and instantly, without saying a word, they own it? Not because they're loud. Not because they're the smartest or the strongest or even the most attractive, but because they walk in like nothing, and no one has the power to rattle them. That is presence. That is composure. That is real power. And most people, they'll never get it. Because they think power is in reacting, yelling, defending, proving, showing off. But here's what they don't understand. The loudest person in the room is usually the weakest. The strongest one. That's the one who doesn't need to say anything at all. I've been in interrogation rooms, in high-pressure negotiations in life or death situations where one wrong move could cost you everything. You know what separates the professional from the amateur? Composure. When chaos erupts, when the volume rises, when the insults fly, when fear creeps in, your instinct will scream, react. Defend, push back, run. But that's exactly when you need to do the opposite. You pause, you breathe, you observe, you stay still, because in that stillness you take your power back. Understand something. People will test you, not just with words, but with silence, with attitudes, with little games designed to get under your skin. Why? Because the second they see you react, even a twitch of the eye, a change in posture, a crack in your voice, they know you're controllable, predictable. And when you're predictable, you're no longer powerful. You're just another player in their game. But when you maintain composure, when you give them nothing, they lose control. Now you're in charge of the pace. Now you're holding the silence. And trust me, silence is uncomfortable for them. Because when you don't react, they start to question themselves. They wonder, did I say the wrong thing? Did they hear me? Are they angry? Are they not? That discomfort they feel. That's you shifting the power dynamic without saying a single word. You see, it's not about being fake. It's not about pretending like you're okay when you're not. It's about knowing yourself so well, being so deeply grounded, that you choose not to give them access to your inner world. Not because you're hiding, but because you're protecting, guarding. Because not everyone deserves to know what moves you. You want to lead. You want to be respected. You want to move through the world unshaken. Then you need to master yourself before you try to master anything else. I've had people curse in my face, shout, threaten, try to intimidate. You know what I do? Nothing. I listen. I study. I stay calm. I maintain eye contact, firm, but not aggressive, and I hold my body still. Because the moment you lose control of your body, you lose control of the room. Most people walk into a room and adapt to the energy. You set the energy. You set the emotional tone with your stillness, your posture, your breathing, your lack of reaction. And when people realize they can't get a rise out of you, they start to rise to you. Power is not about dominance. It's about discipline. Composure tells the world I know who I am. I don't need your approval. I don't respond to disrespect. I rise above it. And don't get me wrong, this isn't about being passive. This isn't weakness. Composure is measured aggression. It's knowing that you could respond, that you have the tools, but you choose not to. Because you're operating on a higher frequency. Because you're not reacting out of ego. You're responding with strategy. When someone tries to embarrass you, humiliate you, drag you into conflict, they're not attacking you. They're attacking your sense of self. They want to pull you into the dirt because they can't rise to your level. So what do? You stay clean. Because here's the truth. Composure is not about pretending to be unaffected. It's about choosing your moment. It's about saying, you don't get to decide when I speak, when I move, when I react. That's mine. That's sacred. That's untouchable. And the more you practice this, the more you learn to regulate your breathing, your tone, your presence, the more you'll feel that shift. Suddenly, people listen more when you talk less. They respect you more when you demand nothing. They fear your silence more than they ever feared your noise. Why? Because they know someone who can't be rattled, can't be controlled, someone who doesn't flinch, doesn't fold, and someone who doesn't break under pressure. That's someone who leads. It's not easy. I won't lie to you. In the beginning, your instincts will want to lash out. You'll want to explain yourself, argue, scream, prove your worth. But the truth is, you prove your worth in how little you allow others to disturb your peace. And if you can hold your ground when the pressure rises, if you can remain composed when everything in you wants to react, you'll realize something. That moment when you didn't respond, that's when you actually won. Not when you made your point. Not when you clapped back. Not when you won the argument. No, you win the second you rise above it. The second you say to yourself, I know who I am. I don't need to engage with this. The second you reclaim your power by keeping it to yourself. Because in a world obsessed with attention, the one who stays composed, that's the one who stands out. And in time, that's the one who commands respect without ever having to ask for it. Let me know if you'd like the rest of the speech expanded in this voice and depth, or want this broken down into video segments, timestamps, or social media ready posts. And here's what most people don't get. They think just because they feel something, they have to act on it. You feel angry, you explode. You feel disrespected, you lash out. You feel ignored, you chase validation. That's not power. That's being ruled. That's emotional slavery. Let me be blunt. If anyone, at any time, can push a button and get a reaction out of you, they own you. They own your emotions. They own your energy. They own your peace. You think you're in control because you're yelling louder or acting tougher, but really, you've just made yourself predictable, accessible, easy to read, and even easier to manipulate. True strength. It's not found in the fire of reaction. It's found in the discipline to hold the fire back. When someone disrespects you, you don't need to mirror them. You don't need to drop to their level to prove that you're strong. The moment you stoop down to match that chaos, you've already lost. Because the goal isn't just to win the moment. It's to win the war inside yourself. Do you know how many people ruin their lives because they couldn't pause for 5 seconds? They say something stupid, send that text, lash out, slam the door, throw a punch, break trust, destroy relationships, all in the name of keeping it real or not holding back. That's not being real. That's being reactive. And reactive people are easy to predict, easy to provoke, and easy to destroy. But the one who has emotional discipline, the one who feels the storm rising inside and still chooses to stand still, that's the one who becomes dangerous in the best way possible, because now you're not driven by impulse, you're driven by intention. Now you're not ruled by what they did. You're ruled by what you've decided to become. That's the difference between a powerful person and a powerless one. A powerless one lets the world shape them. The powerful one shapes themselves, no matter what the world throws at them. And let's get something straight. Emotional discipline isn't numbness. It's not pretending you don't feel. It's not bottling everything up until you snap. That's emotional constipation. That's a disaster waiting to happen. No. Emotional discipline means you feel everything, but you process it. You don't let it leak out sideways. You don't weaponize it. You don't dump it on people who didn't cause it. Instead, you pause. You ask yourself, what outcome do I want here? Who do I want to be right now? Will this reaction serve me or shame me? And then you act accordingly. You see, when you operate from emotion, your decisions are temporary. But when you operate from discipline, your decisions are strategic. You're not just reacting to now. You're building who you become next. So no, you don't need to fire back every time someone shoots at you. You don't need to defend your name in every room you're not in. You don't need to prove you're strong by raising your voice. Your real strength is this: you could destroy them, but you choose not to, because you know the one thing they can't take from you, unless you hand it over, is your self-control, and when you hold on to that, you win. Every single time. You know what most people are terrified of: silence. They'll fill it with noise, with excuses, with nervous laughs, with oversharing, with words they never meant to say. All because they don't know how to sit in stillness. But the ones who do, the ones who can stand in complete silence, with full eye contact and zero apology, those are the people you don't mess with. Silence is not empty. It's loaded. It makes people uncomfortable. It forces them to confront themselves. And that's why it's powerful. When someone insults you or throws shade your way, they're expecting something: defense, a comeback, emotion. They want to see that twitch in your face, the spark in your eyes, the crack in your voice. Because if they get that, they know they got to you. But when you respond with silence, when you just hold your gaze, steady, still, calm, that's when they start to unravel. Because now they don't know what you're thinking. They don't know if you're angry, unaffected, or 10 steps ahead. They can't read you. And people hate what they can't read. I've used silence more effectively than any word I've ever spoken. In interviews, interrogations, confrontations, you name it. I've watched grown men crumble under silence. I've watched leaders confess just to fill the void. Because silence reveals one thing: presence. You're not rushing to prove anything. You're not defending yourself to someone who's already decided to misunderstand you. You're not reacting. You're observing. And in that stillness, you dominate the moment. You see, silence is more than a tactic. It's a reflection of inner mastery. Most people talk because they're uncomfortable with being misunderstood. But let me tell you something. When you really know who you are, you stop needing to explain it. Your energy speaks louder than any sentence. Your posture becomes your statement. Your lack of reaction becomes your message. And it tells thing, you don't get access to me just because you're loud. You don't earn a piece of my peace just because you tried to rattle it. Let them wonder. Let them overthink. Because the moment you stay silent in the face of provocation, you flip the script. Now they're the ones unsure, they're the ones exposed, they're the ones who gave away too much. So the next time someone tries to test you, don't rush to speak. Hold your ground. Hold your silence. Because that space between their noise and your response, that's where power lies. There's something you need to understand about people. Some of them don't want peace. They want chaos. Not because they're strong, but because they're bored, insecure, or hurting. And pain looks for company. So when they see you calm, grounded, focused, they'll do everything they can to shake it. They'll poke at you, ignore you, gaslight you, whisper behind your back, and then smile to your face. Why? Because they want a reaction, not a resolution, a reaction. Because that gives them a sense of control. That tells them they matter, even if it's through negativity. And most people fall for it. They react instantly, argue, defend, explode. And in doing so, they hand over all their power. But here's the moving: don't give it to them. Don't feed the fire they're desperate to light. Let them throw the bait. And you walk right past it. That's not weakness. That's strategy. Because when someone is trying to drag you into drama and you stay unmoved, you instantly become untouchable. And now, they don't just lose the game. They realize they were never in control of it in the first place. You don't have to show up to every argument you're invited to. You don't have to defend yourself in every room where someone whispers your name. You don't have to chase down false narratives or match someone's low energy just to prove a point. When they come with chaos, you come with calm, not because you're passive, but because you've outgrown the need to explain your value. You see, the people who feed off drama, they live small, they exist in gossip, conflict, and noise. You live in clarity, focus, purpose. And if you lower yourself to their chaos, you lose momentum in your own life. So the rule is simple: starve the noise, feed the mission. They want attention, don't give it. They want a reaction, stay silent. They want access, deny it. Because when you stop feeding what doesn't serve you, it dies. And what grows instead is your presence, your power, and your peace. And that's the space where greatness lives. Your energy is currency. And the truth is, most people are broke because they're spending it everywhere, on everyone, without intention, without boundaries. Every comment, every opinion, every glance, every tone, they react. They give pieces of themselves away like it's nothing. But you, if you want to lead, if you want to rise, if you want to protect your peace, then you need to treat your energy like it's sacred. Because it is. Not everything deserves your attention. Not everyone earns the right to influence your mood. And not every situation requires your response. You've got to ask yourself, every time someone tries to pull you in, does this deserve me? That moment when someone cuts you off in traffic doesn't deserve you. That passive-aggressive comment at work doesn't deserve you. That social media troll with 2 followers and too much time definitely doesn't deserve you. See, when you react to everything, you dilute your presence. You become scattered, exhausted. And suddenly, you're living on the defensive, constantly putting out fires that never needed your flame in the first place. But when you get selective, intentionally selective, everything changes. You conserve your strength. You show up more powerfully where it actually matters. And you stop handing out pieces of yourself to people who wouldn't know what to do with it anyway. Most people want your reaction because it validates their behavior. It tells them they have influence over you. Take that away, and watch how fast they shrink. Not because you said something, but because you didn't. This is about emotional filtration. You don't let garbage in. You don't let small minds rent space in your head. You don't chase closure from people committed to misunderstanding you. You observe, you assess. You decide, does this deserve me? If not, you let it pass. You stay in your lane, eyes forward, locked in, and that's not cold. That's clarity. Because the minute you stop reacting to things that don't matter, you start attracting the things that do. And that's when your energy stops being scattered and starts being unstoppable. Reactions are expensive. And the moment you give one, you've already paid. With your power, with your peace, with your position. That twitch in your jaw. That quick shift in your voice. That split second where your eyes flicker, your shoulders tighten, your tone changes. All of that speaks louder than anything you say. You think no one notices, but they do. Especially the ones looking to control you. They don't just listen to what you say. They watch how you say it, how quickly you break, how easily you flinch. And when they see you react, game over. You just told them everything they need to know. That the comment got under your skin. That the silence made you sweet. That the pressure cracked you just enough to let them in. Now they know your trigger. Now they know your weakness. Now they know how to pull the strings. And watch you dance. Let me tell you something: the second you react out of emotion, you stop leading the interaction. You give them the steering wheel, and they will drive you straight into chaos, because that's where reactive people end up, lost in their own lack of control. But the one who doesn't flinch, the one who keeps their tone level, body still, breathing steady, that person is unreadable. And unreadable is powerful, because if I can't read you, I can't manipulate you. If I can't trigger you, I can't control you. If I can't shake you, I have to respect you. Most people live in a state of constant reaction, jumping at every shadow, chasing every insult, responding to every slight like it's life or death. But here's the truth: every time you do that, you expose yourself. You teach the world how to get to you. And you don't owe the world that kind of access. You owe yourself composure. You owe yourself restraint. You owe yourself the discipline to say, I see what you're trying to do, and I'm not playing. It's not about being emotionless. It's about being tactically aware. It's about having the self-mastery to control your own narrative, not let someone else write it for you. So the next time someone tries to poke the bear, don't roar. Don't show teeth, smile, breathe, say less, move smarter, because the moment they realize you don't flinch, they stop coming for you, because now you're not just strong, you're unreadable. And that's a whole new level of power. Confidence doesn't scream, it doesn't beg, it doesn't need to be validated by applause or likes or someone else's approval. Real confidence is quiet. It's in the way you walk into a room and don't look around to see who's watching. It's in the way you listen more than you speak. Because you don't need to dominate the conversation to prove you matter. It's in how you don't chase attention, because you've already accepted one simple truth: I don't need to be seen to be powerful. Loud people are performing. They're trying to fill space they don't know how to own. They're showing off because they're afraid of being overlooked. They don't believe they're enough. So they talk too much, brag too loud, laugh too big, insert themselves everywhere hoping anyone will notice. But quiet confidence, it's different, it's solid, it's secure. It doesn't have to fight for space because it is the space. When you're truly confident, you don't need to win every argument. Because you already know who you are. You don't need to over-explain yourself. Because you're not trying to convince anyone of anything. You don't need to compete. Because you're not operating on anyone else's timeline but your own. You're not desperate to be understood. You're not afraid of silence. And you're not in the business of proving your worth. Because that work is already done. You know how many people have told me I was quiet, too reserved, not aggressive enough. And yet, in every high-stakes room I've ever stepped into, the ones with power, the ones with danger, the ones where real decisions are made, it was the quiet, confident person who led. Because when you walk in grounded, composed, and measured, people feel that. They feel the difference between someone who's pretending and someone who's done the work. They feel the presence of someone who doesn't need the room to clap. And here's the secret. The moment you stop needing to prove yourself, the moment you truly own who you are, people listen harder. They lean in. Because now when you do speak, every word lands. That's the power of quiet confidence. It doesn't beg to be heard. And that's exactly why it's unforgettable. You have to stop treating your piece like it's optional. Like it's something you get after the chaos ends. After you've defended yourself, after you've responded to every message, proved every point, fought every battle. No. Your piece is not the reward. It's the requirement. You don't guard it after everything settles. You protect it so things don't even have the chance to escalate in the first place. Look, every time you let someone pull you into their drama, you pay with your piece. Every time you respond to nonsense, you pay with your piece. Every time you try to correct someone who doesn't even respect you enough to listen, that's peace gone. And the truth is, people will test your boundaries just to see if you'll hand it over. They'll bait you, push you, provoke you. And if you give in, you just taught them something dangerous is that your peace is negotiable. It's not. You've got to treat your inner world like it's the most expensive thing you own. Like it's under lock and key, behind a gate. A guarded 2047, and no, not everyone gets a key, not everyone gets access, not everyone deserves to be close enough to shake what you've built. You see, when your piece is intact, you think clearly, you move smarter, you speak with purpose, you don't chew a tract. Because you're not operating from survival mode, you're operating from self-respect. And the most powerful people I've ever met, they're not the loudest. They're the ones who walk away from anything that threatens their peace like it's beneath them, not out of arrogance, out of alignment. So no, you don't need to clap back. You don't need to engage. You don't need to explain yourself to anyone who's already decided not to hear you. That's noise, and you don't let noise into sacred space. You protect your peace because it's what allows you to show up strong. You protect your peace because you're not here to survive life. You're here to lead it. And you can't lead anything. Not a mission, not a room, not your own future. if your mind is constantly at war with things that should have never made it past your boundaries. So make peace your baseline. Make it non-negotiable. And watch how quickly everything that doesn't align with it removes itself from your life. You ever look back at a moment and think, I should have handled that differently? That's the price of reacting out of emotion instead of intention. And let me be real with you. We've all done it. We've all let the heat of the moment speak for us. And almost every time it costs more than it was worth. Because when you respond with emotion, you're playing short term. You're trying to win the now. You want to feel better in the moment, even if it means losing respect, burning bridges, or setting yourself back in the long run. But the people who win in life, they don't think moment to moment. They move like chess players, not checkers. They think 10 steps ahead. That's the difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is emotional. It's impulsive. It's driven by ego and insecurity. Responding, that's strategic. That's disciplined. That's power in motion. You're going to get provoked. That's guaranteed. People will lie about you. They'll try to embarrass you. They'll challenge you in ways that feel personal. But if you make decisions in that emotional state, you give them exactly what they want in your control. Let me be clear. Emotional reactions are not strength. They are exposure. They reveal where you haven't done the work. But when you learn to pause, even if it's for just 3 seconds, that pause becomes your protection. It gives you time to choose, not just react. It gives you space to ask, what outcome do I want here? What version of me needs to show up right now? Because you don't want to win an argument and lose your integrity. You don't want to get the last word and ruin your reputation. You don't want to satisfy your pride and sabotage your future. And I get it. It's hard. When your blood is hot and your heart's pounding, you want to snap. You want to defend. But in that moment, if you can choose strategy over emotion, you elevate yourself. You shift from being reactive to being intentional. From being ordinary to being unshakable. And once you start responding with strategy, you stop being predictable. People can't provoke you like they used to. They can't box you in. They don't know what's coming next. Because now, you're not reacting from a wound. You're moving from wisdom. So the next time someone tries to draw you into their chaos, stop and ask yourself, am I reacting to prove something to them? Or am I responding to stay aligned with who I'm becoming? Because how you respond when it's hard, when it's personal, when it's emotional, that defines whether you're leading your life or just surviving it. There's a reason the strongest people you meet often say the least. Because they've reached a level where outside noise can't touch their inner knowing. They don't just act untouchable, they are untouchable. And it's not because life didn't try to break them. It's because they stopped giving access to anything or anyone that didn't align with their growth. When you act untouchable, you're not pretending to be above people. You're choosing not to be dragged below your standards. People will test you. Constantly. They'll throw shade, lies, jealousy, manipulation, and they'll wait for the crack. Because the moment you explode, argue, or try to prove something, they got what they came for: your attention, your energy, your power. But when you stay composed, when you walk like nothing touches you, like your spirit is bulletproof, like you've done the work and you're not coming off your level to explain that to anyone, now they don't just stop testing you. They start respecting you. There's something magnetic about someone who doesn't chase approval, who doesn't beg to be understood, who walks into a room and doesn't need to announce their worth. Because it's in every step, every breath, every silence they own. That's what happens when you act untouchable. People sense the difference. They realize you've got nothing to prove and nothing to lose by walking away from nonsense. You don't entertain chaos, it doesn't live at your frequency anymore. You don't engage with disrespect because it can't reach where you're operating. This isn't arrogance. It's emotional evolution. You've earned the right to protect your boundaries without apology. You've earned the right to choose your peace over their noise. And that decision, that refusal to shrink, to react, to fall into the trap, that's when you become truly dangerous. Because you no longer fight battles that don't lead to your future. You don't argue with people committed to staying small. You don't flinch at pressure. You rise through it. And eventually, people stop trying to shake you, because they realize you're not playing the same game. You're not in it for validation. You're not in it to win moments. You're building something bigger. And anyone who can't rise to meet you there, you leave them exactly where they are. So here's the truth. This isn't about pretending you don't feel. It's about choosing what deserves your response. It's about understanding that your power doesn't come from how loud you speak or how fast you react. It comes from how deeply you know yourself and how intentionally you move. When you act as if nothing affects you, it's not denial, it's discipline. It's saying, I've done the work. I've earned my peace. I don't owe chaos my presence. Because the world will always test you. People will always push. Life will always throw noise your way. But the question is, will you flinch, or will you stand? Every time you choose silence over drama, stillness over chaos, restraint over reaction, you train the world how to treat you. You show theming, I don't break under pressure. I don't respond to provocation. I move with purpose, always. That's not just strength, that's leadership. And when you live like that, calm, clear, and unshakable, you don't just protect your power, you become it.